When you look at thimerosal, one of the
Yeah.
statements that is being made in your video, thimerosal was put into vaccine to keep them sterile. 50% of thimerosal is composed of mercury,
Yeah.
specifically ethyl mercury, and it is the most dangerous form of mercury. And then they said, you quote Mary Holland, they said that in the amounts it was contained in vaccines, it was safe. The evidence does not support that. They talk about the different parts per billion of mercury. And these are simple facts. This is not something that's made up. The EPA and the CDC clearly make these comments. They say 2 parts per billion. 2 parts per billion is enough to exceed drinking water. So up to 2 parts per billion mercury is considered safe. Anything above it is not safe in drinking water. So drinking water is something that you swallow, and eventually it filters through the body and it gets peed out, and some nutrients get absorbed into the body, especially if the water contains herbs or whatever you're looking for. Now that is 2 parts per billion. 200 parts per billion is considered enough to be hazardous waste. That means they need hazmat suits in order to remove it. 200 parts per billion. But then 25,000 parts per billion, 25,000 parts per billion was what we had in childhood vaccines. And some of those vaccines were then given together, such as with the Hep B, which was given, the hepatitis B shot, which was given from 1990 till 2002, had 25,000 parts per billion of mercury, thimerosal, actually, mercury, given at birth. We're talking within days of being born, or sometimes within hours after being born, that was already given to children. So 50 parts per billion is in DTaP and HIT vaccines, which are given at 2, 4, 6, 12, and 18 months. 2, 4, 6, 12, and 18 months back in the 1990s. So even if people are saying it's not included anymore today, thimerosal, you're looking at a generation born since 1988, 1990, and the potential poisoning that was put in the body, because it's not you and I, but we can say the word poison, we can say the word vaccine, because these are simply facts that have been documented by our government organizations like NIA, EPA, FDA, CDC.
The EPA, if they were to regulate those products, if they were to evaluate them, here's an example. The flu shot, the EPA and OSHA do not analyze that. That's out of their purview. That's not part of their paradigm.
Okay.
If a nurse has a vial in the room and she drops it on the floor, that suddenly becomes a hazardous waste site.
I see.
The thimerosal on the floor is now a hazardous waste site, and you have to deal with that with OSHA protocols. You know, you have to get people out of the room, and that has to be handled as hazardous waste. But when it goes in the arm, it's not hazardous waste.
Well, so, you bring up that light bulb.
And the light bulb, they contain mercury, so you can't throw those in.
You cannot put them in the trash.
Standard trash, because they've got mercury in them.
Yeah, there's a whole ritual. It comes with an insert.
It
comes with an insert, how you have to get rid of it.
Exactly.
But you literally inject into the bloodstream things that are so much higher in mercury than what you have in 2 parts per billion in a glass of water.
So if the EPA, they're monitoring, drinking water, and they're saying, 2 parts per billion max, but this product right next to it is going in someone's muscle tissue.
Yeah.
What about that? And the thing about that, when it goes in, when those heavy metals go into your muscle tissue, those want to go to the brain. That's where heavy metals love to go. And one of the, lately you've been hearing about Tylenol, about, these memes about Tylenol causing cancer or autism.
Autism, right?
Tylenol autism link. There's
Dual
no such thing.
pregnancy. Yeah.
Well, the problem with Tylenol, and this has been known for many years, is that Tylenol softens the blood-brain barrier, makes it very malleable. So those heavy metals, including aluminum and mercury, they partition to the brain. They go to the brain and they stay there. Both of those heavy metals. That's just where they'll go.
Yeah.
Because your body doesn't have a methylation pathway in that muscle tissue. If those were to go orally, the aluminum will pretty much be expunged from your body, 99.9% of it. The mercury, it absorbs, it's heavy, so it'll go into tissue, and it's a very weird product.
Yeah, and you look at all the warning signs they have on canned fish.
Correct. There's another thing. And so a really interesting thing, in the 70s, I remember my aunt sitting at our kitchen table, and she was kind of, ahead of the curve a little bit. It was the first time I heard about juice fasting from my aunt. I was like, what? Right. But she said that they were finding aluminum in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. So this happened in the 70s. And it was like, so there was an aluminum can scare. People started to get a little worried about drinking beer or pop out of aluminum cans.
Yeah.
Because, they were finding it in the brains. But lo and behold, aluminum has been in a lot of these products forever. And so that's where it wants to go.
Yeah. You mean mercury?
Mercury and aluminum.
And aluminum both, yes.
And the two together are synergistically toxic.
Okay.
So one by itself, Dr. Donald Miller, he talks about a mouse study where they injected mice with mercury, and 1 out of 100 died. And they injected mice with aluminum, 1 out of 100 died.
Oh.
When they injected them with both mercury and aluminum, all 100 mice died.
No way.
Yeah. So there's something about those two products together which are it's a super toxin. And so a lot of these products are super toxins.
It is not only about dying.
Correct, yeah.
It's also about the long term, those who suffer long term.
Yeah.
When there is a war or there is an accident or a fire and we hear, 30 people died, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrible. But then we don't always hear about the 500 that were wounded.
Yeah,
who may
correct.
carry those wounds with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Plus the emotional trauma of having been in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's another aspect of it.
Yeah, it is. It becomes a chronic
The injury,
issue.
the vaccine injured.
Exactly. Well, in the situation with mice, they have a very quick lifespan and things happen very quickly in their lives, so they die. But in a human, it's going to linger. It's going to go on for years, and it's going to exacerbate neurological function. It's going to make problems with your organs.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Thimerosal was invented by Eli Lilly.
Oh.
I think in 1933.
Huh.
And there's, an infamous note from one of the developers that says, we really got to watch this. We really got to watch out for this.
Wow.
So the first official case of autism was in 1938, a few years after the invention of Thimerosal. That was a little boy named Donald Triplett in Mississippi. And he was diagnosed by Leo Kanner. That actually spells out Kanner, Kanner. And he said, we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.